If you've already logged on, we've got about 5 more minutes to get started. Some things you can do before we get started here is make sure you got some water, have comfortable clothes on that you can easily move in. Make sure you're in an area where you have enough room to move your body up, down, and out to the sides. Having a chair that is a straight back, not recliner, and kind of harder, so less comfortable. A little cushion is fine, but not like a couch, ideally, so that you can really work on your posture. Oh, and if it doesn't actually have armrests, this allows for more movement on the chair, which we're going to be doing. We're just going to up our movement as we go each week. And a lot of the movements I do are also, our legs are coming out to the side, so arm rests can get in the way. What else? That's a good start. Give me a couple more minutes here for everyone to log on who wants to do live. We'll get ourselves started. Awesome. Okay, we still have 2 more minutes here before we get started. Again, I just want to go over some things to think about and to introduce you to this morning wake up. So welcome to the morning wake up. This is our second session. We're going to continue with our chair exercises to start. We will do 10 minutes of movement, 10 minutes of learning, and 10 minutes of mindfulness. Like I said last week, it'll probably be more about 5 minutes of mindfulness, and we can progress in the coming weeks. Again, if you want to play some music, please do that. You can have whatever music you want that makes you feel energized and moving for our 10 minutes of movement. I'm going to use my earbud to help me with my movement. Again, I just had said this, but a chair where you can move fully in the chair, swinging our legs around. So ideally with no armrests, comfortable clothing, some water, and a good attitude. I'm pretty excited about our topic today. As I said, we're going to expand on some of these realms of brain health. And we're going to talk about mindfulness and what we're doing and how it relates to some other pieces of our brain health. So that's going to be really exciting. I did a decent amount of research, and I will put some links down below, if I can figure out how, to the references. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to start our timer here. 1 second. All right, we got our timer going. We're going to start our 10 minutes of movement. Before we get going, I want you ideally at the edge of your chair and your tummy or abdominal muscles brace, so nice and tall, thinking about your belly button just kind of coming in lightly and up towards your spine. I'm going to grab my head. Oh, baby. My earbud here. All right. Okay. Let's wiggle our shoulders a little bit here. One and then the other. Back, back, one, the other. Exaggerating the movement, bringing it up to your ear. Good. And we're going to go the other way. You can bring your arm fully up like you're swimming. Let's swim. Go at a pace that feels good for you. Let's bring your arm all the way back and forwards. Back, forwards. Good. We're going to do this for about 30 seconds. Nice work, everyone. Again, if I'm going too fast, you slow it down a bit. We are trying to get our heart rate up, so I might move a little bit quicker. Nice work. Keep it up. A couple more here. Okay, now we're going to reach to the side. Think about reaching, grabbing something, pulling it towards you. Nice. Posture nice and upright. We're transferring our weight from one butt cheek to the other. As we do this, 5 more seconds, and then we're going to switch sides. Nice work, and switch. Grab to the other side. You can always start with the side that works a little bit better for you. This can help with the other side when it's its turn to recognize the movement. Nice. Keep it up. We'll be getting our heart rate up a bit here. 5 more seconds. We're going to keep up with our arms. We're going to go in front of us and make a big circle up to the sky, kind of bending down, circling up. Down to the floor and up. If that makes you feel nauseous or dizzy, you can just stay here. Also, if you have shoulder issues, only going as high as it feels good for you. So you can just be right here. We're going to switch directions. Whatever movement feels good for you. This is really about finding a nice flow and beat for yourself. So if any movement doesn't feel good, you can alternate. Do 5 more seconds here. Good work. Okay, we're going to reach out in front now. The little twist. We'll alternate what side we're doing. Right, left. See how my shoulders do a little twist here? Try to do that twist. Keeping your posture nice and upright. If you ever need a little break, you can stop. But we're trying to get to 10 full minutes of movement. Again, thinking about grabbing forward. 5 more seconds, and then we're going to grab upwards. Good. Up, up. Nice. Think again about pulling something down to your hip. Reaching up above, pulling down. A little stretch here. Good work. About 10 more seconds here. Nice work. Okay, we're going to kick out. Kick, kick. Nice. Lifting our hip and kicking our leg out. Again, going at a pace that feels good for you. You can slow it down. I'm going a little bit quicker to keep that heart rate up. If you want, you can do a little knee, elbow to knee here, a little twist, or just stick to this here. Ooh. Good work. 10 more seconds here. All right, just gonna march it out. Use your arms as if you're walking. A nice arm swing. Nice work. Keeping that posture nice and tall. You can think of a string pulling you up, but your gaze is out in front. Good. 10 more seconds. Good. We're going to go out to the side. Step. Alternating which side you're stepping. Good. For January, we'll continue with our chair movements, and February, start doing some standing. Might do 5 minutes of each. Keep it up, 10 more seconds. Add in some arms. Nice work. We're just going to go to our ankles, bringing our heels up, toes up. Heels up, toes up. When our heels go up, our arms go up. Toes up, back. Heels up, arms. A slight bend, crunching our abdominals as we do this. 5 more seconds. Nice work. Hey, we're going to do some twisting. We're going to twist all the way our neck as well as twisting with our bodies. We're letting everything come with us. If you get nauseous, just doing a partial twist. As far as you can, that feels good. Arms up. Good. Few more seconds. Okay, we're going to put our hands on our knees here and just move our knees side to side. This actually gets some rotation in our hip joints as well. You can be up on your toes here. Don't worry about your feet. They're getting some ankle twists here, which is fine. Keep it up. Nice work. We're going to do some hip hinging. Think about that posture again, nice and tall. We're going to have our hands out in front of us and hip hinging down all the way as far as we can. Coming back up. Good. Again, you can think about grabbing something and then pulling it like you're doing a row. Pull. Nice work. Five more seconds. Okay, we have about another minute left. Going to extend a leg out. You can be right on the edge. Brace yourself here. We're going to lift. Lift that leg. Good. Again, at a pace that feels good for you. You don't need to rush it. Getting our quads firing here. Awesome. Just going to do a couple more of these because they're difficult. Good. And then we're going to bend our knee to our chest if we can. Extend down. Just going to do 5 of these. Trying to get it as close to our body as we can. 1 more. Good. Okay, wiggle that out. Okay, last thing we're doing, that other leg out. Lift, lift, lift. Again, finding your pace. If you have music going to the beat if you can. Good. Nice work. Now we're going to do 5 of these to the chest and out. Chest, out. 3, 4, 5. Good work. Give your body a little shake. Do everything you need here. I'm going to pause my music. All right. Put that down. Let's see. I've got a new Fitbit, so I'll see if my heart rate. How'd I do? Well, I raised my heart rate a bit. I'm just over 100, so that's good. That's good. Got ourselves moving. All right, so we're going to get into our learning, which I'm very excited about because, like I said, I did some good research and feeling good. You can get comfortable here. As I said last week, if there's something you're learning on your own, feel free to mute me for the next 10 minutes and go off and practice whatever it is you're practicing to get your brain going. I'm going to talk about structural changes in the brain, chemical changes in the brain, how and why we work on mindfulness. So just so you know, before you pause me, that's what we're working on. Okay, so what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is just really the act of paying attention. It's about being present in the moment. So you don't need to be meditating to be practicing mindfulness. It's just about engaging fully in something that is happening currently. We're not putting our brains into the past, thinking about all what we messed up yesterday or how things could have went yesterday or what you did or didn't get done. We're also not thinking about the future. We're not planning for dinner or planning that trip that's coming up or looking at all the appointments we have to do. We're right here in this moment. So that's what mindfulness is. Now, why do we work on mindfulness? Now, there's been a lot of research now on mindfulness with brain imaging, etc., as well as looking at how it affects behavior stuff, mental health, etc. So what the research has shown is that when practicing mindfulness or making that part of your practice daily or consistently throughout the week, it helps with pain management. It helps with different mental health conditions, specifically anxiety and depression. It has overall physical health effects, so leading to less chronic health conditions and better physical health in general. Helps with stress management, emotional regulation, and pro-social behaviors. It is linked to more happiness. Now, in the Huberman Lab podcast, really awesome podcast, which I'll link below if I can figure it out, they talk about the wandering mind, the mind that's always thinking about the past or the future, ends up being an unhappy mind. Obviously, we need to be looking at the future, and it's good to reflect on the past too. I'm not saying those things are bad, but being present and in the moment shows more happiness. And that doesn't even mean you need to be doing something you love every minute. It can be doing something that you don't maybe love, like washing the dishes. But if you're present in that moment, it is linked to greater happiness. So that's some of the reasons why we might practice mindfulness. Now, what is it actually doing in the brain? I'm going to take a sip of water here because I'm getting excited. I can notice myself talking quicker. Okay, so how is it making these changes that we talked about or leading to these things? There are structural changes happening in the brain. So through brain imaging, they have shown that the hippocampus, which is part of the limbic system, it is kind of this worm-shaped thing, kind of a round the center of your brain, linked to memory and learning. It helps us store memories from short-term to long-term. And yeah, really essential in learning new skills. The hippocampus gets larger if someone practices meditation, mindfulness regularly. Furthermore, it shows that the amygdala, which is a small almond-shaped structure in the brain, also part of your limbic system, which is in control of the fight, flight, fawn, freeze responses. So it responds to stress and amps up your nervous system, and then you have some type of outcome, which is usually fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. The amygdala actually gets smaller. So it's not that you're not picking up stress, but some people have an overactive amygdala, so we get stressed out even if the situation doesn't necessarily call for that. So having it shrink down means it'll actually be more selective in what triggers that response. A fascinating part too is that the amygdala communicates to the prefrontal cortex. So the prefrontal cortex is that executive functioning. It's decision making, it's planning, it's emotional regulation, it is consciousness, etc. So there's a specific part of the prefrontal cortex that's right up against that limbic system, really close to the amygdala. It's called the anterior cingulate cortex. And they show with brain imaging, gets thicker. It's like cortex area gets thicker and is responsible for basically emotional regulation. So though the amygdala gets smaller, that area that helps you decide how to behave, what is an appropriate response to this stimuli, gets larger or thicker. So that's super neat, I think. So that's part of the prefrontal cortex gets larger, amygdala gets smaller, and the hippocampus gets larger. There's other pieces involved too, but those are the three main ones I wanted to discuss today. Pretty neat stuff. Now, an interesting part about practicing mindfulness is once you get into the practice of it, you actually have to practice it less, not more. So basically, you are teaching yourself how to tap in and be engaged to that specific moment. And it's really a practice of refocusing when you think about it. It's not emptying your mind necessarily, but it's refocusing on what's right in front of you. Or we use things like stuff happening in our body, focusing on breathing, etc., that can help with those things. So this is a good reminder is when we're working on our mindfulness, if you're like, oh, I can't clear my head, I'm constantly thinking about things, damn it, that's okay. Because it's really about practicing this refocusing. So, okay, I had a thought. Now let's come back to my breath, or let's come back to, if we're doing a breathing in color or a sensory practice, we're coming back to whatever it is we're supposed to be focusing on in that moment to help us engage in being present. And once you get better at it, you can do it throughout your day. When you're having a conversation with someone, you are right there with them instead of also planning all the other things you need to do. I might be guilty of that. Okay, so I kind of did a little side bar there, but important to know. We have a couple more minutes here, and I really want to talk about some other changes that happen in the brain. These are the chemical changes that we see in the brain with a regular mindfulness practice. So there is a couple different neurotransmitters that are at play. So they find that there is an increase of GABA, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter in the brain. It responds to, again, stress, anxiety, and calms that down. It is also really essential for focus and mood. So again, associated with regulating your moods. So there's an increase of GABA, this kind of calming like neurotransmitter really helps reduce anxiety. And there is actually a reduction in cortisol. Cortisol, you might have heard me talk about before, that's the stress hormone. And when you have a lot of cortisol in your body all the time, this can lead to chronic health conditions, inflammation throughout your body. So lowering our cortisol can be really good for us. So with regular mindfulness practice, see increasing GABA, which reduces anxiety, helps mood regulation, and decrease in cortisol. Furthermore, there's an increase in serotonin. Serotonin has been deemed the happy neurotransmitter. Some of you might know that if you're diagnosed with depression, they actually often prescribe medication that acts specifically on serotonin to help more of it be available. Now, serotonin, yes, is linked to this kind of like happy, good feelings, but it also is essential for sleep, appetite, and learning. So again, helps with all these other pieces as well. Another thing which I didn't know, which I thought was really cool and exciting, is that it increases a protein in your brain called the brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Again, some of you may have heard me talk about this because there's evidence and research to show that this protein elevates through aerobic activity. So what we were just doing increases brain-derived neurotrophic factor, but mindfulness does too. So that's really neat because brain-derived neurotrophic factor is kind of the key piece in neurogenesis, so making new neurons, as well as creating new neural pathways. It is essential in neuroplasticity and reorganizing our brain, which for after brain injury is like really important. So that was pretty neat. So not only are we getting that brain-derived neurotrophic factor, more of it in our brain after we do our movement, we're also getting more of that if we practice mindfulness consistently in our life. Okay, so that's our 10 minutes. I have more about mindfulness that I want to talk to you about, but we'll save that for next week. We'll do a part 2 on mindfulness and the science behind mindfulness. All right. Whew. You can see I got riled up there. All this science stuff, brain stuff. Okay, we're going to now do a body scan today. Actually, sorry, changing my mind on the spot here. We're going to work on our senses. So we're going to move through our 5 senses. This is one I really like to do. Many of you may have done this with me before, but we're going to get ourselves in a really comfortable position, whatever that is. I'm going to lean back in my chair here because it's a nice straight back. I'm not totally slumped or anything. And we're going to first take an inhale through our nose and exhale. Inhaling through our nose and exhaling through our mouths. Focusing on our breathing just gives us something to, again, refocus on when we get distracted. So when you notice those thoughts coming in, no big deal, doesn't matter. But then you can refocus on that inhale and exhale. Or you might notice the rise and fall of your chest. I sometimes like to have a hand on my chest here and just above my belly button to really engage in that rise and fall. Continue breathing here. We're not going to close our eyes yet, but we're going to soften our gaze. Awesome. Now, depending on your environment, you might have a lot going on that you can see in front of you, or not so much. But you're going to just notice 5 things visually. I'm going to say try to notice 5 different shapes. And on each of those shapes, I really want you to focus on how they look in space. So I have a cereal box over there on my table, and I'm going to really look at that rectangle and how it looks 3D in the space. Really noticing the shapes, 5 different shapes. Keep breathing. Soften gaze. Trying to notice the details of the 5 different things you've decided to visually take in. Okay, next we're going to notice some physical sensations. So think about touch here. So this could be your own hands resting on your knees or within each other. This could be the floor on your feet. This could be, a relaxed, light sense somewhere in your body, or it might be some pain or discomfort. You're just noticing 4 different physical sensations. It could be temperature. Again, as you move through the different 4, giving each one some extra attention. If it's a pain in your shoulder, is it an aching? Is it a sharp pain? Try to identify, what is that? Continue breathing at a slowed pace. If you want to close your eyes during these next ones, feel free. Now we're moving into what can we hear? What sounds do we have in the background? You can identify just my voice. And again, giving it some extra attention. Do I have a higher pitched voice? Do I sound excited or tired? There's another sound in the distance. Is there a rhythm to it? Again, letting yourself notice and tap into your hearing. Now we're going to move to our sense of smell. We're going to see if we can notice any smells. I'm in my kitchen, or dining room. Maybe noticing the breakfast I prepared. Maybe you can smell that, or a coffee that was made recently. If you can't find a smell, just even trying to notice the air going in and out of your nostrils. Smell can be a hard one. Nice work. Keep breathing. If thoughts come in and out, no problem. Just trying to refocus on whatever sense it is we're exploring. The next one, last one, is you're going to try and identify a lingering taste. Again, this one could be a difficult one, but maybe you brushed your teeth recently. Or maybe you did drink some coffee and can still feel or taste that little bit of coffee. And if you can't and you have difficulty with this, I want you to just notice your mouth. You can slide your tongue across your teeth, just noticing a sensation in your mouth if you can't come up with a taste, which again can be a very difficult one. Keep breathing. We're just going to do another minute here, and whatever sense you felt like you could really tap into, I want you to find one piece. So maybe it's a certain sound, and I really want you to focus on that sound. or something you saw. We're using an external item or event to be our place of refocus. Keep breathing. If thoughts come in, just let them glide by. Don't judge yourself for them. A few more seconds here. All right, slowly bring yourself back to your body. You can have a little movement to just be like, oh, hello, here I am on this beautiful January day. Another sunny day. I think we get a couple more of those. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you got something out of this. And I hope you join us next week where we will continue our conversation on mindfulness, talking about the difference of interoception and exteroceptive, and how that plays into what type of mindfulness you should be practicing, as well as how different types of breathing can energize you or help calm you. Yeah, it should be another good conversation. Thanks again, and I hope you join us soon. Okay, bye from Cowichan Brain Injury.